Because I was going through literally fire in my academic community. They did not want to have the Center for Compassion, Creativity, and Innovation, some of my colleagues. So I had to defend compassion. And I'm sure many of you have gone through the same thing. Well, I took her phone call, and it was amazing 30 seconds. I told her what I was doing. She told me who she was. And we then met about a week later after, I had passed the first hurdle of the Center for Compassion. And there are few people I constantly think of heroes and that I look up to and respect. And one of them, I had the good fortune to fly out here with and constantly work with her. She speaks not only from the heart, but from her mind. And that combination in a person who went through, I have 3 little boys, through the horror she went through, and to come out and to be a compassionate superhero, that's what I call her, is simply amazing and a model for all of us about courage, not just about compassion. So it's a great honor for me to introduce Scarlett Lewis.
Because I call him the rock star of compassion. So, thank you all for being here. This is almost like a dream come true for me, because this is what I envisioned after the death of my son. It might surprise a lot of you to hear me say this, but I consider December 14th, 2012 to be one of the world's greatest days of compassion. And that is because on that day, the world came together as one in the true meaning of compassion. And Chris has taught me, and it's true, that compassion has 2 components. The first component of compassion is identifying with someone's pain. And sometimes, as a society, we don't get further than that. And I can remember being in the grocery aisle, looking at the cover of People and seeing the Columbine shooting on the cover and going, oh, those poor people. I feel so bad for them, but I'm a single mom, I have a full-time job, and I really just want to be happy. So I'm really not going to go there. And what I didn't do, and what a lot of us don't do, because of course sometimes the first component of compassion is painful, is move to the second component of compassion, which is actively doing something to help ease another's pain. And the incredible thing about that is that's when all of the love that we give out comes back to us. And that is literally what the world did on December 14th. Everyone came together as one, and people actively did something to help ease our pain. And actually, the amazing thing is the majority of those people were kids. So it was really an incredible day. And of course, you never think that it can happen to you. I remember one of my coworkers instant messaged me while I was at work, and she said, there's been a shooting in Newtown. And I thought, oh no, really? And I got up to leave, and I'm driving home. It was a 40-minute drive, and my friends and family are calling me, giving me different information about what was going on. Well, yes, it actually was at Sandy Hook Elementary, where Jesse went to school. And looks like the teacher got shot in the foot. And I'm thinking, oh, jealous boyfriend or something came in, and I really wasn't that worried. Jesse's father called me and said, oh my God, if something ever happened to Jesse. And I said, don't say that, because nothing has happened to Jesse. Jesse is totally fine. In fact, even when I got to the firehouse and had to park half a mile away, because there were so many cars, there was media, there were ambulances, there were helicopters, there were army men, and I thought, oh my God, really? Is this overkill a little bit? And, but I didn't find Jesse, but even when I couldn't find him and I had to wait, you still hold out hope and you think, of course, this can never happen to you. But it did happen. And I wondered afterwards and asked myself the same 2 questions that everyone, I think, asked themselves. How could something like this happen? And what can I do personally to make sure that it doesn't happen again. And I pictured the whole incident being started as an angry thought in the shooter's head at some point. And I pictured him as a little boy having an angry thought without the tools and the compassion to deal with that thought. And so anger feels bad. So he did what some of us do to get rid of, to erroneously feel like we're getting rid of that feeling. We blame someone for our anger. And I'm not sure who he blamed, his teachers, his parents, his classmates. But when he blamed someone, he gave away all of his personal power to change his personal situation. And he became a victim. And prolonged victimization leads to rage. Rage can change us. Angry thoughts can change us on a cellular level. We know that now through scientific research. And prolonged victimization leads to rage, and rage fills our prison systems and leads to acts of violence, such as Sandy Hook. So at Jesse's funeral, a few days later, I asked everyone who came, and I said, everyone has been asking me, what can we do? And I said, there is something that you can do. I'm going to ask each and every one of you to actively change an angry thought into a loving thought, because it is a choice. And doing that, you'll make yourself feel better, you'll positively impact those around you, and through the ripple effect, you'll make this a better world. And the response to that was overwhelming. People were writing me emails from all over, people that came to the funeral, saying that that one simple act changed their life because they didn't know that they weren't their angry thoughts. They thought that they were their angry thoughts that were leading them down this angry path, when in fact, when they made the choice, they could be more loving and compassionate. You know, the shooter did not wake up December 14th, 2012 on the wrong side of the bed and decide that day, because he was angry, I'm going to go out and mass murder kids at Sandy Hook Elementary. That situation took years and years, a lifetime of frustration, of anger, of loneliness. And when you look back through the history, it could have been stopped many, many times down that path. I know that if Adam had been given a compassionate education, if he had been shown compassion and taught compassion, that Sandy Hook Elementary would not have happened. You know, we have an epidemic of anger in our society. And it's so easy. We always want to blame someone, right? And so it's really easy. Who would you blame in this situation? You would blame the shooter and maybe his mom who armed him, right? Or his dad who abandoned him during the last couple of years of his life. That's easy. We could blame them, we could feel good about it because it's definitely their fault, and then we could move forward. But that doesn't really work, because if it was their fault, it wouldn't continue to happen again and again and again. And I think that there have been 80 school shootings since December 14th, 2012. So I'm not saying this to invoke fear in you. I'm saying it to inspire change, because there is something that we can do. And it starts today with all of us being here. You guys are going to change your lives, you're going to change the lives of your kids, and you're going to change the world by doing that. My 6-year-old son left a message on our kitchen chalkboard shortly before he died. He wrote 3 words: nurturing, healing, love. Now, those 3 words we found shortly after he died. Nobody saw him write it. They were phonetically spelled, of course, because he was in 1st grade and just learning how to write. They're not in the vernacular of a 6-year-old. However, those 3 words are in the definition of compassion across all cultures. And when you define the meaning of those 3 words, nurturing means loving kindness, healing means forgiveness, and love is compassion in action. And I knew when I saw that message that he had some kind of a spiritual knowing that he wouldn't be here for long. And I knew that that was a message of comfort for his family and friends. But even more than that, I knew that it was a message of inspiration for the world. And I feel so blessed to have been given that message. And that is my purpose in life, to spread nurturing, healing, love. Just so important and life-changing, especially in our schools. After I found that message, I started the Jessie Lewis Choose Love Foundation, and that was to spread this message, and specifically, mostly in schools. Because now we have scientific research. We know that compassion changes lives for the better. We know that kids who have compassion weaved into their education get better grades. They have less behavioral problems. They have higher attendance rates. We know this. We just need to get together and do it uniformly across the world. And that's what we're all here to do today. Jesse left another message for his older brother, JT, who was 12 at the time. And the same day that I found the Nurturing, Healing, Love message, JT found his message. And JT's message was on his desk, written on a tiny little piece of paper in green marker, and it said, "Have a lot of fun." So that's incredibly important, almost as important as nurturing, healing, love, because we have to remember that while we're spreading compassion, we need to be having a lot of fun. That's been my mantra when I've been traveling around talking. I get this little bump on the head, remember to have a lot of fun, right? And one more little story I wanted to mention. On that day, when the shooter actually entered Jesse's classroom, continued his killing spree, and he murdered Jesse's teacher, who was standing as close as humanly possible to him, and his gun ran out of bullets. And during the short delay, Jesse chose to stay by the side of his teacher and call out to his friends on the other side of the room and told them to run. And they said that it was because Jesse said that they ran, and he was instrumental in saving 9 of his friends' lives. So I talk about Jesse's courage because it takes courage to spread our message, right? And each and every one of us have that courage within us. Everyone sitting here today. And so I just want you to be mindfully aware of that and boldly go out and express the message of compassion.